Hey, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here. This is we'll call it the Doug Show Live. I think we've been going with that. Today, we're going to talk about ChatGPT. We took a break last week. We talked about keyword research, but today we're going to talk about some of the most powerful prompts that I've seen so far. I found them at various places. I watched some YouTube videos, did some research, but a lot of it was just me playing around, trying to figure out things that I needed to do specifically. So we're going to lean heavily on that sort of thing because, well, that's what I tested, that's what I needed to do. And I think that's what people should kind of focus on. So part of this is going to be like mindset. So we're probably not going to do too much of like straight up writing, straight up like writing content to try to rank on Google. I think if people are trying to do that, if it works in the short term, that's fine, but I don't think it's going to work in the long term generally. Plus, if everyone is doing it, then, and there's a very low barrier to entry, then anyone will be able to pump out a lot of content. Maybe it's relatively helpful. Let's assume that it's relatively helpful and relatively correct. At the end of the day, if everything is sort of relatively helpful, correct, and the barrier to entry is very low, it's cheap, it's easy to do, and the market's flooded, there will have to be another differentiator. So I haven't even really spent time on like trying to write content to rank in Google because it's a waste of time, in my opinion. I'm not really interested in doing something that's going to work for like a few months and then I have to regroup and figure out what to do. So some of the things we're going to focus on are highlighted. And by the way, I should point out here, if you do want to get the prompt engineering cheat sheet, which really this is a prompt engineering exercise, I have a cheat sheet that it's brief. It's only 5 pages long. It does assume some prerequisite information and skills with using ChatGPT, but once you kind of have a handle on it, then this is a very powerful cheat sheet. Let me share it right here. So like I said, it's 5 pages. We're going to go through some of the stuff in here, but quick example. Let me make sure I can scroll around here, which is not letting me scroll for some reason here. This window appears to be frozen. It's no fun. Okay, we'll hop back. But anyway, you can sign up and get the cheat sheet. It's free. It is sort of pure value, very easy to implement and start using. One of the key prompts, and I'm going to jump right in and start showing you some cool stuff. So when people come in later, I'm going to tell them to rewind or just download the sheet. But we'll allow people a couple minutes to hop on. But one of the most powerful ones is just creating prompts that you'll be able to use again and again. And I'll show you exactly, like I'll share some of the prompts that I have and that I'm using. And if you're on my email list, you will recognize some of this stuff. Daniel is on what's going on, and we have Ram as well. Let me know in the chat if you could hear me. I think you probably can. I think we're probably in good shape. If you have the ability to and you find this helpful, hit the thumbs up somewhere along the way. If I say something interesting, funny, whatever. Godfrey is on after a long hiatus. Yeah, I haven't seen you around here in a little bit. And we'll answer questions along the way. Of course. Quick shout out to one of the sponsors for today, Odys Global, the source for premium age domains. We're going to roll an ad from them in a few minutes here. Let my voice rest just a bit. Daniel says that you can hear me. Like I said, I'm going to jump in. We have 24 folks on right now, so that's enough to get moving with it. So let me, for some reason, Google or Chrome may have crashed on me. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. I think we're okay. I think we're okay. As I mentioned, you can check out the cheat sheet. It is free. When you get the cheat sheet, you also get a login to a small course area that I created where it's longer form stuff. There's some long lessons in there that are the written word. There are some videos in there like demos, and you have access to that as well. So when you sign up, you get the cheat sheet, you get access to essentially a free course on AI topics, and you just have to pop over here and sign up, enter your email, and then I send you the information. You have to confirm it. It's a double opt-in situation. So, as I mentioned before, I will answer some questions along the way here. I'm going to just hop in and show you a couple cool things. And I'm going to show you what I think is the most powerful most powerful prompt that you can use, because you can create other prompts. It's a prompt generator. And let me show you right now. Okay, so we're in ChatGPT. I have the Plus version. I signed up for the $20 per month plan as soon as I could. Someone told me recently that the price went up to like $50 a month. I think that's still quite a bargain for what it can do. So I found this specific prompt to get us started on a website. I don't have the link handy, but essentially it is an open sourced list and repository of prompts. A lot of them are kind of repetitive, and what I think a lot of people did is they started with a prompt like this, and then they just started creating like random other prompts. So a lot of them are very redundant, and a lot of them don't really add like additional value. Once you have a prompt generator, then of course you can generate any prompt that you need. I'll read this out. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I'm going to try to remember to zoom back out. Again, if you want this exact thing, you just have to follow the link in the description, nichesiteproject.com/AI resources. So it says this: I want you to act as a prompt generator. First, I'm going to give you a title like this, in quotes: act as a writing coach and AI writing tutor, end quote. Then, next line here, it says, then you give me a prompt like this: I want you to act as an AI writing tutor. I'll provide you with a student who needs help improving their writing, and your task is to use artificial intelligence tools such as natural language processing to give the student feedback on how they can improve their composition. Side note here. So if you're a student, like, this can help you improve your writing. You could do the writing yourself, but in this case, it would just like tell you how to do it better. Okay, back to the prompt. You should also use your rhetorical knowledge and experience with effective writing techniques in order to suggest ways that the student can better express their thoughts and ideas in written form, end quote. The prompt should be self-explanatory and appropriate to the title, and give me the prompt only. So let me hop back here. So what is that telling us to do? So it's providing an example. You're telling ChatGPT, hey, you're going to get a title, and here's a description for such a title. You could actually do this several times. So as you find prompts that are really good, you can improve upon it. I actually did this as I went along, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I created as a prompt generator when I was trying to figure out what I needed help with, how to use ChatGPT as a virtual assistant that is an expert in a specific area. ChatGPT knows a lot of stuff. You just have to tell it what you need it to be specialized about and what you need help with. So, as I mentioned, you're giving it a title, you're telling it what a good prompt is, and then that is the example. If you keep giving it improving and better examples, then you probably will get more thorough and more interesting and more powerful prompts. Again, this is probably the most powerful prompt. If you can figure out how to do this, which is very straightforward, right? If you could figure out how to do this and then create chatbots that you can train to do a specific thing, you could go back to them again and again. I'm going to show you some specific ones that I actually do use on now a day-to-day basis. And David, moderator, friend of the show, David says, good afternoon. I used the information from last week's live stream to actually create a podcast using Descript. White Canes Connect episode 063. That is awesome, David. And I didn't link it in the description like a good YouTuber, but there is a video that I created where you can use Descript and ChatGPT and essentially create a podcast or video, essentially like an audio track of your own voice without saying it. So I created a outline with ChatGPT, a script, and then I fed it into a tool called Descript, which I trained on my actual voice. And then it sounds a little bit robotic, but it's probably like 70%. If someone doesn't know me and they heard it, they would think maybe I just talk awkwardly, perhaps. Weird cadence, which is true. If a family member or a friend heard it, or someone that listens to the podcast, they would detect the, kind of robotic sound. And again, it's a weird cadence. The cool thing is it was actually able to pronounce words that I would never say in my own voice. Like I'm certain I never said certain words. I can't remember, but I'm a simple person, right? I use simple, small words, not too many syllables, keep it approachable, make sure I don't stumble over my words. And there were some multiple syllable, very long words that I wouldn't normally use in the transcript, and it pronounced it perfectly, better than me. So anyway, Descript, very powerful, cool way to, use these tools in conjunction. Okay, so let's hop back to this very powerful prompt. So the first prompt is how you train it. So as an example, I said using AI to enhance public speaking skills. And I gave it another example here with a prompt just to sort of train it, right? Or actually, this is a reply back to me. So they were like, well, I'm going to give you an example. We didn't ask for it, but ChatGPT, just so damn helpful, they gave us an example. One thing I do need help on is a YouTube title writer. So that is the title. I just put in the title. I didn't put anything else. And then we see the prompt the ChatGPT provided for us. I want you to act as an AI YouTube title writer. Your task is to generate compelling and engaging titles for YouTube videos using artificial intelligence tools such as natural language generation and sentiment analysis. You should consider the content of the video, the target audience, the overall tone, and the messaging of the channel when crafting the titles. Additionally, you should draw on your knowledge of effective marketing and advertising strategies to help the channel attract more views and subscribers through eye-catching and descriptive titles. So I thought that's pretty good. So I said, that's pretty good. Can you integrate best practices for title length too? So another key aspect. It provided me with a prompt, a very good prompt. It only took a second. But I know that I wanted to make sure that it was a short, punchy title that wasn't more than 50 characters. So I asked it to rewrite. So we have here, sure, here's an updated version of the prompt that includes best practices for the title length. So we essentially doubled it too, right? So this part is much longer than what the original was here. So it was only like one solid paragraph. Now we have two. So that's great. That's a really good one as well. You can even do more, right? Maybe you have specific things that you want to integrate. Maybe you've been YouTubing for a while and you have a list of titles that are very good and they performed really well for your specific channel. You could feed those in and say, here are 10 titles that performed exceptionally well. Keep this in mind, keep the style in mind, keep the tone in mind whenever you're creating a title for me. So you could feed it in, right? So if you have been YouTubing for a while, you can do that specifically for your channel. If you haven't been, guess what? There's a shitload of videos out there already. You could just go to someone's channel, maybe someone in your niche that has been doing very well. You can go to all their videos. You could sort it by popularity, and then you can get their top 20 video titles and then feed it into the ChatGPT prompt and just let the chatbot know that these were really good. So that was a specific example, and I actually did feed it in to a prompt, and I'm going to zoom out. So I have my prompts over here, and I use them again and again. So YouTube titles is what I called this one, like you could imagine. So I haven't been strictly, using these as like just YouTube titles, for example. So I may say, hey, I need help with the description. Here's the outline, something like that. So here's some stuff that I did. So I have a marketing channel. I need help on titles. So actually, I didn't train it with a specific one, but I should have, right? I should have done that. I may have put it in around here. So this is generally like what you can do. So whenever I need help with a YouTube title, this is the one that I go over to. So I'm going to pop back to the prompt generator really quick. And let's go back up. Scrolling fast, but don't worry. Okay, so here's a cool one. So act as a fallacy finder to find holes and gaps in arguments. So I just give it the title, and then it gives me this pretty solid prompt. It's 2 paragraphs, very straightforward, so it's pretty easy to work with. You could be very specific too. So I said, act as a blogger in the food world specializing in meats. Should be an expert writer in the style and tone of Alton Brown, which is a host of Good Eats, one of my favorite shows ever. So this is very specific. So I just wanted to point that out because even if you're an expert in the area, like you can tell ChatGPT to be an expert in that same area. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop back out here for a second, take a look at the chat. But like I said, that is pretty much the most powerful thing that you could do because you could create other prompts to help you do things. As we move on, I'll show you 2 prompts that not prompts, but 2 chatbots that I have trained in specific areas that I have actually been using on a daily to semi-daily basis. Okay. Next, Sharma says, sir, what do you believe? Can ChatGPT rank on Google, right? Can an article rank on Google? The answer is yes. I created a video on it. Just go check it out. But if you tune in, start at the beginning, I give a short monologue on why that's a stupid idea. David said when he published that episode, his daughter thought that you had a cold when she first heard it. Okay. Chantel, what's happening? Good to see you here. You purchased the course. Do I think I'll revise it to include ChatGPT? The answer is no. So generally the course is going to be focused on non-AI related stuff. If you want AI related resources and information, you can get the videos that I'm creating, the free course, the free resources. But I believe the sites that we want to create via multi-profit site or similar, like it's probably really important, more long-term thinking to have a site that is based on actual people writing. You can use these tools, right? So I'm showing you how to use these tools to do research, to improve the content, not to do the writing. So my answer is I'm not going to include it. The other thing from a logistics standpoint, and for the people that have checked out my courses in the past, to include a tool that is volatile and will change often is a huge pain in the butt from a revision perspective. So, for example, ChatGPT has changed even in the not even 3 months or about 3 months that it's been around. Some things have shifted, and if I tried to cover material or tools or apps that were very volatile, it creates a lot of additional work and it almost ensures the information is going to be out of date. So when you look at my course, you'll see that there's nothing flashy. If it's something that could be volatile or that could change often, I usually don't even do a video. I'll write the lesson out because it's much easier to edit and update text and screenshots versus a video. If you do a video, you have to shoot the whole thing again, and then you have to re-edit it, which is a huge pain. Or it just gets, a little confusing. Okay. And Sharma, perhaps newer to the channel, can you explain, should we write ChatGPT article in a website or not? What is my opinion? My suggestion is to not do that as your primary source of content. It might be correct. It might be helpful. It might help the searcher, the visitor on your site. But if everyone can do it, then it's just and there's a low barrier to entry, then everyone will do it and it'll be very easy to just replace you. There's going to be a huge amount of competition. So you have to differentiate your site and your content in a different way. And I already answered that earlier, so I'm just going to stop here. Okay. So as a quick break for my voice here, I'm going to roll the ad from Odys Global. Here's the featured domain for today. This is brought to you by Odys Global, the source for premium age domains. And right now we're looking at one of the featured domains, or the domain that I'm featuring today. It's called lifetracker.io. And even though this domain is from way back in 2015, they actually cite artificial intelligence. You can't get away from AI these days, and I wanted to open it up that way. So let's go back though. So Odys is a place where you can get premium age domains. They have backlinks already. Usually they have strong branding, like a Lifetracker. That's a very strong domain. We're going to take a quick look at some of the data over at Ahrefs. We're going to look at this specific domain, click around the website just a bit from the Wayback Machine. This is a screenshot from 2016. Seems really fancy for 2016, but from a user experience standpoint, it's awful. Luckily, you don't have to stick with this. It's just a little reference point. And the thing is, with these premium age domains, you can rebrand them. You got to keep the same domain name, of course, but you could, for example, if you didn't want to build on this domain, you could actually redirect it to your existing domain. I think a great way to use this particular domain is to play into the sort of wellness space, the life optimization. If you happen to be an aspiring SaaS founder, then this domain could be perfect because they've already got some great links from places that you might want to get links from as a SaaS founder. Now, the other part, and I threw in the AI portion, you don't have to mention that, of course, but you could. So this app that came out in 2015, they basically targeted like productivity and task management and assistance in optimizing your life. So they talk about life tracking, they talk about life control, recommendations about how you can make your life better. So basically, it gives you a wide range of things that you can cover. Now, like I said, this website is kind of hard to use. It took me a second to even figure out what to do with it. But the point is, you can write content about productivity, wellness, apps. You can actually review apps. If you want to go the wellness route a little bit harder and stronger, you could actually do like fitness tracker reviews as well, which those are very expensive items. I have an Apple Watch. There are a bunch of different ones out there, and people take them very seriously. You usually have one of these watches for years, and they're kind of expensive. So people investigate them, they do research, and that could be another great way to do it. Now, let's just take a quick look over here at Ahrefs. So the domain rating is 17. You can see they got a lot of links when they started up at the end of 2015 here, and they've remained. There are 97 referring domains, 75 of them are do follow. And as a reference point, you can see the estimated traffic over here. They were getting a little bit of traffic from late 2015 all the way through probably the middle of 2018 when it looks like they closed up shop. However, they were still ranking for, some keywords. Actually, they're still ranking currently for some keywords. So that's a good thing overall. We can take a look at some of those referring domains. Again, 85 of them are do follow, and I won't read them all out here or anything like that. But you have links from like Crunchbase, you have Product Hunt, Data Economy, SaaS Hub, beststartup.co.uk. So some pretty strong links out there. And again, I think you have a good opportunity to make it fit into wherever you want it to fit into your content area. So you can focus on the informational content for sure, display ad revenue. You can review products so you can get affiliate revenue. And the thing is, if you wanted to, you could partner up with, say, like a coaching platform for wellness coaching, or even sort of life coaching type things, and refer people over there and really diversify your revenue streams. And by the way, you probably can partner with people, coaches on like social media, which kind of diversifies your traffic as well. I'm not saying it would be easy, but it is totally possible. So you can head over to Odys Global. They have great filtering and searching mechanisms. They have a lot of domains that you can choose from in whatever space you're looking for in many different languages. If you sign up using my affiliate link, you can get $100 into your account. It's free to join. You just have to apply over there. And if you buy something, I get a commission, which I greatly appreciate. So thanks a lot to Odys Global, and check out that domain. Even if that's not one that you're interested in, there are a bunch of others you could check out. All right, we're back live, and Jamie's on, and Joanne too. So, looks like a couple more people hopped on. If you're just getting here, welcome. I did go over what I thought is the most powerful prompt, and that is a prompt generator. So rewind it once we finish and you could check it out. If you want to get all the prompts and some other additional stuff that we're like going over today, you can head over here, which is nichesiteproject.com/AI tools. There's a link in the description. It's free. And you can get this prompt engineering cheat sheet, which is 5 pages long. And it has some of the best stuff that I've found, specific examples, and it ranges from productivity, writing, and content creation ideas. And one of the other cool ones is to teach ChatGPT your content style. So you can train it on your own writing style and make it sound like you. You just need to, give it something like this. So read the text and think about how the author uses language to get their point across. Look for things like the author's attitude or feelings and words or phrases that stand out. Think about the message or lesson that the writer is trying to communicate. Look for interesting comparisons or hidden meanings in the text. Remember this style and tone. Use this style and tone for future responses. And then you could paste in your long form content. So if you have a blog, if you have emails that you've written, to like family and friends, and there are sort of long narratives, you could put that in too. I note here that the max number of words that you could put in is about 3,000 words, but it kind of depends on, how many characters it is. If you stay under 2,000, you probably will be pretty safe. So you can give it more and more content. So if you have 100 blog posts, you can feed it a huge amount of information if you want to. I would say that's not really necessary. Like, you probably can give a couple pieces, say, 2 to 10,000 words of content, and it will know your style. You could actually even ask it and say, hey, how would you describe this style of this content? Can you write a prompt that will be a writer in that style? And then you've trained it on your specific writing style. So that's a really cool one. And the one that I started out with in the beginning, so is create your own prompt. So again, we went through the example. I'll show you a couple that I've created that I'm using pretty often. So, in quick shout out to Ariel Phoenix. Thanks for hopping on. So let me pop back and make sure I have the right thing showing here. Okay. So I trained ChatGPT, a specific chatbot, to help me for content on this channel, on my podcast, writing emails, and that sort of thing. So I wasn't planning on training it so specifically, but it just worked out that way. So initially I said, hey, do you know what a niche site is? Do you know what the pros and cons are? And I've used some of this copy in my emails. So I even put this verbatim in, and I mentioned it in the email. I said, hey, I asked ChatGPT about the pros and the cons of niche sites, and it gave me pretty good answers. Fairly concise. You don't have to read it all here. I asked about how much it can earn and just like general information. So as we scroll down, I asked ChatGPT right here. I said, can you write a prompt for me to use in the future to get responses like this? It didn't quite understand what I was getting at here. So it just said, hey, what are the pros and cons of creating a niche site, and some things that are not immediately obvious. So I came back after going to the Chat GPT prompt generator, and I said something about an AI content strategist for niche and authority sites with a podcast, YouTube channel, and blog. So I wanted to cover everything that's in my platform. I could even throw in like course creator or whatever. And you'll notice that this is a pretty long prompt. I don't know how many words that is, but if I had to guess, I'm going to say like whatever, like 350, 400, something like that. So it's like almost a page long. When I asked ChatGPT to write the prompt initially, it was probably, a couple paragraphs. And I said, I want more. I want it to be very specific. So I started this chatbot as, hey, think about niche sites. What are some pros and cons? How much can you earn? Here's some background. Then I came back and I said, I want you to be an AI content strategist. Now it's very specific. And I honestly can't remember if I fed in any of my own written content to train it on my voice, but it didn't really matter because I'm not using it verbatim. Typically, I'm just getting a chunk and then I'm rewriting it as appropriate. It's really good to get started, but it's not perfect, right? Sometimes it takes like the wrong approach. Sometimes it's something that you can correct easily with a follow-up prompt. Other times I'm just like, I'll just take out that sentence. It's just that one sentence that's out of place. So after I put in this huge prompt, Chat GPT said that it was a great prompt. I hope my knowledge in the industry will be helpful. And let me know if you have any other questions or if there's anything I could assist you with. Okay, so here's an example that I can't even remember if I use this. So I said, I need an email of 300 words that tells this. I found 2 long tail keywords. Oh yeah, I use this. So if you're on my email list, you probably saw this email. So I found 2 long tail keywords that were keyword golden ratio terms. I wrote 2,000 word posts, 2 separate 1,000 word posts. There were product reviews, published them on February the 13th. A few days later, they ranked number 2 and 4 in Google. They're getting traffic. It is a product review, and it's product A versus product B. I didn't build links. I didn't submit to, and I misspoke. I put auto suggest, but it should be, I didn't submit to the Search Console. I just published them. And the moral of the story is you can still rank quickly in 2023. So this is something that Ariel taught me a little while back. And you could check out our many interviews or Ariel's channel. And this is the thing that I was trying to figure out how to do with like Jasper or other tools, but it was just like not working right. But with ChatGPT, it is working right. So I wanted to be able to put in a bullet point list, or maybe I messed up on Jasper, by the way. Maybe it's better now. But basically I wanted to put in a bullet list of just the bare minimum of what I could talk about or what I wanted to contribute, what needed to be included, just the facts, right? I just want to put in the bullet point facts. And then I want 300 words of an email. So some of this was, out of my tone, a little bit soft, and I made it more direct. So one great way to do this is like get this. You can add follow-up prompts, right? So I'll read you the first part. So, dear name, I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to share a recent experience um, I had with you that I think you'll find interesting. Like this part, like that's waste, right? You don't want to open an email and say, I hope this finds you well, right? You don't need to do that. You can just get to the fucking point. So in this case, I probably, I don't remember exactly what I did, but my hunch is I just started with, hi, name. I've been working on, actually, I didn't even do that. I think I probably started with, I decided to try out, I took out this new approach. So it says, I decided to try out a new approach to content creation to see if I could rank quickly without building links or submitting to Google Search Console. Again, that was my own typo. But I changed that because it wasn't a new approach. It's the same thing I've been talking about for like 7 years. It still works. So I said, hey, I decided to try out this boring old approach. And then I proceeded with the rest of this. It's just the facts. It worked pretty well. I probably trimmed some stuff out, but it got me started, and it took a much shorter amount of time to do this. And it was 90% usable in this format. So I actually did say, can you make it more casual? And instead of auto suggest, I meant Google Search Console. So it's a little more casual. This is actually shorter here. So I still probably, trimmed it down, but I used this pretty closely. All right. And Sharma asked the question, sir, as ad blocker are dominating, do blogging still have a future? Can we still earn? The answer is yes. And if my answers seem useless and boring to you, it's not on purpose, but it's just these are questions that we get pretty often. And I would say ad blockers are not necessarily dominating. I think blogging is more threatened by things like this, like video or social media, more than ad blocker. Because guess what? There's ads every fucking where. So it's all the other distractions. Okay. So as I mentioned, I've trained this chatbot, and it's learning more and more as I'm using it more and more. And I go back to this specific one whenever I need content or information or help for niche site related stuff. As I mentioned, I trained it based on podcast, YouTube, blogging. So it knows that there are different areas. So I can go back and say, give me a YouTube title. Here is the outline. And it'll do a great job. And I'm going to find another couple cool things that I've used. And my friend Matt Giovanisi mentioned this to me. I'm not big on Twitter. I keep thinking I may give it a shot, especially Matt and I were having like a side conversation, not recording. And he was telling me that, he's continuing to spend time on Twitter, and it performs really well for him. He's very good there. I can't get motivated to do it. But as an exercise, I said, can you make this a Twitter thread? So it's the same shit that's in the email, but I said, put it in a thread, and it separated it out for me. I haven't done anything with it. I'm still nervous about spending time on Twitter, which is kind of funny because, I act like a know-it-all on the YouTube side. Why not do it on Twitter? And that is honestly one of the hangups because, I pop in and I see it, and people, you only got a few characters to work with, but they come out like so certain of themselves. I mean, you have to. You only got a few characters, but when I think about me doing it, I'm like, I don't know. Like you lose a lot of nuance, and I guess this format's different, right? I can talk for a super long time and never actually take a stand on something. I can just talk in circles all day long. Ariel says, have you tried getting getting it to respond to Haro with what it knows about you. No, I haven't. Have you checked that out? I've heard a couple people um, postulating about using ChatGPT to automate Haro responses and stuff like that. And I think that is an interesting use case that would probably do a pretty good job, especially if you can give it information about yourself, make it very specific. It would probably work pretty well. And let me see. One more sec. I need to change this, or I would need to find. Okay, so here's a great one. This is very meta, but you'll see how useful this is. So, same chatbot here. And I have this basically it's an outline for someone that I saw that had a course about ChatGPT. So it's essentially all the stuff that I'm teaching and that many people are teaching for free on YouTube, but he's packaged it up into a course. And that'll save people time. There's a framework, there's value to having a course, but he's created it as a course. So I was like, here's content that someone is teaching in a course. Come up with YouTube ideas for ChatGPT for bloggers. And I also mentioned, hey, I have a video and it's called ChatGPT Writes a Full Blog Post Start to Finish. And it did really well. So I wanted to provide ChatGPT with topic areas that I knew were useful and interesting because they are covered in a course. And you can go to any course platform or find one for sale and essentially like look at what's in there and then feed it in. It's kind of like looking at the table of contents for a book. It shows you how to organize stuff. It shows you what other people deemed important, and it helps you kind of do research. Okay, so I asked for this. Let's scroll down. So there's, a handful, I would say like 20 items here. Sorry about the zooming in. There's about 20 items there. And I said, can you give me 20 ideas for videos about ChatGPT and how bloggers can use it? So it was like, boom. They're not 100% right, but I would say 17 to 19 of them are just fine. And the next step, right? You can ask for more. So I said, give me as many as you can without repeating. So now I have like 30 items on here. Call it 25, right? I'm going to throw out a couple, maybe some I don't care about, whatever. So the next thing that you would do is ask for an outline for one of the topics and then a script for one of the topics. You could even tell it how long you want it to be based on like the length of the video. You'd also say like, hey, let's include a little demo or something like that. So let me find that prompt. So I said, can you write an outline for how to use ChatGPT for content research and idea generation? I want it to be 5 minutes long and I'll have demos via screen sharing. And it gave me exactly what I asked for and exactly what I needed. So 5-minute outline, or an outline for a video that's 5 minutes long, gives me a little intro, tells me how long it should be, a quick overview, a couple demos and what I should do, tips and best practices for content research and idea generation, and a conclusion. This is all I need. So I'm using it specifically for things that I'm trying to do. But like Ariel asked here, like you could use it for responding to Haro responses, right? You could use it for that. If you're not a solo operator and you're on a team, you potentially can now, let's say you were a content manager for an agency, you now potentially can come up with scripts and outlines and content ideas for your client instead of taking I'm just going to say an hour or so to come up with that list. It took like 30 seconds. I mean, it was so incredibly fast. Would I publish that if it wrote out a script? Would I publish that on a blog post, which is what Sharma is kind of getting at over and over again here? I probably would not. I probably wouldn't do that because it would be a little generic. The only exception is if I went in and edited, amended, and really added my own thoughts into the outline. Part of that could be for each one of the sections, a specific little story from me, an example from me. Maybe I've received an email from someone, or I saw a YouTube comment where there's additional information, a specific example that I could insert that would be unique to me and it would be in my own voice. That would be the only exception. If you just got a script or you got a blog post directly from ChatGPT, it's probably not going to be great. The other exception, which I published a video on this, is I grabbed a transcript of me talking on YouTube. I converted that into a blog post and it ranked. It ranked, I think, number 1 or number 2, depending on which term you searched. Since then, some other competitors have popped up and they have outranked me. It's a sort of a different kind of content that they publish, but there's, mine's 300 words long. Theirs is 3,000 words long with screenshots. Like theirs is better content. They obviously put more time into it, a few $100s into a writer. So the other thing that I was asking next, how many words of a script would the 5-minute outline be? And they said, roughly like 600 to 700, but it depends on the pacing and the tone. So like I said, you can do a lot, and I just ask for, another outline based on another one of the topics. And I will most likely go through. I have a list, like I said, of 30 videos, and there's a strong chance I'm going to do those videos. I mean, it's right there. They're great topics. They're very specific. They're somewhat keyword driven, which is another bonus, but it's exactly the topic area that I want to investigate. I didn't do any like keyword research specifically. I would just ask for topics in that area, ChatGPT for bloggers. If you extend this out, right, I could do the same thing for different user types. So it's the same skills that we have used for keyword research over and over again. ChatGPT for real estate agents, ChatGPT for SEOs. That might be a little more competitive. ChatGPT for students, ChatGPT for writers. And then I can ask for 20 ideas for each one of those. You could just fill in like different professions. And ChatGPT for freelancers, ChatGPT for graphic designers. I'm just making them up off the top of my head. You could ask ChatGPT for suggestions on different people that could find the tool interesting, usable. It's really powerful. Okay, so let's look a little bit more at our zoomed in too far here. Let me zoom out. So here's the cheat sheet. Again, it's free. You just have to go to nichesiteproject.com/AI tools, which there's a link in the description. You just put in your email. You don't even have to put in your name anymore. It's anonymous, except for the email. So this is the most powerful one here. The prompt creator. The other one that I want to show you, I'm going to jump back up to the top here. So sorry for the quick scrolling. We'll just do a quick summary here. So you could brainstorm names. You can give a summary. So let's say you have a blog post, or actually this is a better one here. So a book ChatGPT is familiar with many books out there, plus the summaries on said books. So you can say, give me a summary of Atomic Habits, which is misspelled, in 300 words, or you can ask for 500 words or whatever. So that's good. Give me pros and cons. Find gaps or problems in my argument or position. This is very powerful for writing or creating content because you can fill in the gaps. So when someone reads it, they don't have, like, you're one step ahead of them. You can answer their opposition. Powerful for sales pages as well. Write a job posting. Okay, so I talked about teaching ChatGPT your style, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to skip ahead here because we're starting to run out of time. If you have questions out there, now's the time to ask. We spent a lot of time just now on the outline and researching, so you can get basically a very strong starting point for almost anything you want to do. So I was like about making yogurt at home for a blog post, about making yogurt at home for a YouTube video. So different kinds of content. Okay, so here's another one. So the reverse engineering. So you could use ChatGPT and kind of understand, kind of hone in on what you want in a response. This could be like after you've trained it, you've gone back and forth. Maybe you've used the same chatbot over and over again a couple times. And here's an example. I took out the ChatGPT responses. So I said, I have a marketing channel. I do keyword research about SEO. I need a title, blah, blah, blah. So I said, can you write a prompt? Finally, once you get the response that you want, can you write a prompt that I could use again? Consider all the details mentioned above. So I gave it initially what looks to be four prompts, and it worked out after some refinement. Then you could just say, give me a prompt that I could use again and again. So this is it. Create a compelling title for YouTube on a specific topic, and then I give some guidelines, and then you could just say, here's the topic. And then that's it. You could put in more information, and I have done that, where you provide it with a little more info on what's in there. So you could put the topic and it's just like a bare bones title, and then it'll give you a better one. But you could also give it like the description of the video. Maybe you have an outline, like the outline that it created for us a minute ago, and then it'll take all of that into consideration. I also promised that I would show you another one of the prompts that I'm using on a frequent basis. So this one was created with the prompt generator. Give me 1 second here and I can see if I could find it. Okay. So this is a two-parter here. And this perhaps is bringing it all together. So I've used the prompt generator prompt, what I'm calling the most powerful prompt. And I've given it a couple of examples. I've used it a couple times. I will ask for revisions, like, hey, add a little bit more. It is written so that you can provide just the title and it'll do a pretty good job. So here's the one that I gave it initially. The title is Financial Independence Retire Early, Expert with a Podcast, YouTube channel, and a blog. I wanted to provide additional details, so I said more details. And open quote, you are post-financial independence and you do not have to work, but you still have fun with your creative projects with a podcast, YouTube channel, and blog. So that I was trying to describe Mile High 5, which is my other show. So the prompt it gave me was fairly long. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So I want you to act as an AI content strategist for a financial independence retire early FIRE expert with a podcast, YouTube channel, and blog. Your task is to provide guidance and support on the types of content that will be most effective and engaging for the FIRE community. So draw on your knowledge of the movement is part of the strategy. Focus on actionable advice, tips, and strategies. Additionally, draw on your knowledge as a post-fire expert to provide insights that are specific to the people after achieving financial independence. By providing personalized and data-driven advice on the content strategy, you will help the fire expert create content that is engaging, informative, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I said that was great, but add a note to have humor, to use wordplay and puns, and make the content lighter and fun. So it added, I think, a paragraph or two about making it a little bit lighter. So this is the full prompt that it gave me. It was pretty damn good out of the gates, but I did want to add that little bit of humor. So what I did is I went to a new chat. And the initial chat is the one that we just saw. So this is the revised with the wordplay, the humor, and that stuff. So it does give you a recommendation. It says develop a content strategy that blah, blah, blah. They tell you some shit to cover: personal finance, investing, frugal, lifestyle, post-fire. They give us some ideas, but essentially like it is trained to do mile high fi assistance. So I went through and I use it for various stuff. A lot of times it is like YouTube titles and such. Let's see what's the last thing I put in here. Okay, so if you listen to the show, we just published one. My friend, he has his favorite band and they were on Kickstarter. I think it's called the Webb Brothers. They're on Kickstarter and he's a pretty frugal dude. He has been for many, many years, but he's starting to splurge like in the last 2 months. And he saw that he could get a private concert for $10,000. So he paid $10,000 to get a private concert. It's probably going to be in August or September, something like that. But we had an okay title. It was all right. But I did what I just mentioned a couple of times. So I was like, hey, here are the show notes for the next podcast. We talk about Carl getting a semi-spontaneous $10,000 purchase. Here's the things that we cover. And then we got 10 options right here. So I don't think I used any of these verbatim, but I also knew that memory dividends were part of the discussion and impactful for me. So I said, hey, include something with memory dividends. So all 10 of these talk about memories or memory dividends. So I combined 2 of them somehow. So we titled it this: Power of Memory Dividends, the $10,000 purchase you won't believe. Little clickbaity, I wouldn't normally do that, but you got to make these a little interesting, especially on the YouTube side. So I asked ChatGPT, even though I was going to use that one anyway. I was like, hey, what do you think of this one? And it massaged my ego. I mean, its own ego. It came up with it. I just picked the ones I wanted to use. So that is how you can use this, start to finish. You have the prompt generator, so you can create a chatbot to do a specific thing. I have some random ones set up over here, but I have been using like 2 or 3 over and over again. And it's learning more. It's powerful to use the same ones over and over again. It's trained. I should probably train it on my style a little bit more. I mean, the other thing is like we have transcripts from Descript. So I could just pull down a transcript and say, here's our voice of the podcast. This is the tone that we should have. Now, of course, you could only put in a handful of words at a time, say 2,000, 2,500, maybe even up to 3,000 words. But still, you can train it specifically, and you could feed it in a couple pieces there. So, okay, I think that covers it for today. We're going to wrap it up here. Check out some of the other videos on ChatGPT. If you want the cheat sheet that I've been referencing, all the stuff we've been talking about, all you have to do is follow the link in the description. nichesiteproject.com/AI tools AI resources. It's linked in the description. You just put in your name and email, and then you'll get an email back. You have to confirm it, and then you'll get all the good stuff. You get access to my email list, all my templates, all that stuff. You get to check out the cheat sheet, and you have access to the AI resources course, which is free. You just pop in there. There's some longer form stuff, but I wanted to make like a bite-sized piece that you could use just as a cheat sheet for prompt engineering. All right, that's it. If you want to check more of these out, there's many live streams out there. I usually do them at this time, Tuesday at noon. Although I think next week I may shift the time or move the day. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll just take the day off. I don't know. All right. We'll see you later. And I think my friend Alex over at WP Eagle is doing a live stream starting right now. So I may pop over there for a minute.